Welcome to the Social Isolation Class.
Good morning, Mr. Smith. A worldwide global pandemic has forced all of the schools in the nation to close. Mr. Smith, your mission, should you decide to accept it, would be to continue to teach your students from your basement. As always, you have carte blanche as to the methods and personnel. Of course, if you are caught or killed, SunWest will disembowel any knowledge of your actions. As usual, this recording will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Welcome to episode 6. Today it's all about rocks. The whole world is covered with rocks, and rocks are changing all the time. When you're looking at a rock, you're looking at history. And you know, every rock was actually melted at one time. It was like liquid magma. Okay, now, scientists have identified 3 main categories for classifying rocks. The categories are igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic rock types. Now, this is in your Lesson 5 notes, as well as the textbook. Keep reading your textbook, folks. Now, igneous means born of fire, and I always remember that one because of ignite. Nothing like doing a little bit of house wiring. Now, that rock comes out through the top of the volcano, and as it cools, it forms this rock known as pumice, and it's pretty cool. You can see that it is got a lot of little air holes in it. Kind of looks like a sponge. Last summer when Ava and I hiked through the state of Oregon, we went through huge lava fields of this stuff. It was all around us. You're looking at the base of what they call the Three Sisters, all extinct volcanoes that I believe were active 10 million years ago. Throughout what they call the Cascade Mountains, there are numerous dormant volcanoes that you continue to hike past from one to the next. They're kind of like almost pylons marking the route, spread 50 to 100 miles apart as you travel northbound on the Pacific Crest Trail. Now, another form of igneous rock that we came across was obsidian. It is very much like glass. So once this lava spreads out and kind of like repaves the Earth's surface, the next thing that happens is erosion. And erosion is wind and rain, and that just kind of wears it all down, grinds it up. Wind, and it's just blowing and wearing all that rock down into sand, and then more sand blowing and just breaking that rock down. They're worked up against each other, grinding away. That creates smaller particles, just kind of breaks the rocks down. Eventually that sand flows downstream in rivers into lakes and into the ocean, where it's then compressed, squeezed down, and it forms sedimentary rock. Now that sedimentary rock, that layered rock, as you know, can get pushed down deep inside the earth once again, and the heat and pressure can transform that, twisting, squeezing it, mixing it with other minerals, and we get metamorphic rock. This is a sample of marble, which would be a metamorphic rock. It's the shiny, smooth stuff that you see used in a lot of buildings for floors and walls. One of my favorites. Also in that category of metamorphic, it is fairly hard, used to be used for the original blackboards were made of slate. This is referred to as anthracite coal, and it's also metamorphic. Guinness, also considered metamorphic. Now, some of you might even have one of these rock sets at home. If you do, get it out, because it'll classify these rocks into those 3 categories for you, and you can take that magnifying glass and you can look right up close. Pretty cool if you're into rocks. Well, enough of this. It's time to paint that volcano. Hi, I'm Mr. Smith, and welcome to the joy of painting volcanoes. And today I want you to pay attention to the way we blend these colors right here. And I just want you to know that all the magic occurs right here on this palette. You want to have a good size palette when you're doing this, and you want to have a nice brush. Today we're going to use this beautiful 2.5-inch brush from Home Hardware, and we're going to paint our volcano. First thing you're going to do is you want to wet your brush. You always want to wet your brush. Beat the devil out of it. We're going to start off then with some liquid white right now. So we just take this liquid white and we're just going to start to spread it over this area right here. We're just going to do some gentle little up and down strokes here. And we just want to work that in, cover all that newspaper up just like that. And just going to do some happy little circles right here. Just going to keep stroking up and down. And we want to try to make sure that we cover everything. Just don't be afraid to load that brush right up. And we're just going to fluff it up a little bit. You just want to keep gradually working that in. Just sort of fluff it up a little bit. Now we're going to add some brown. And when we're painting this, I want you to realize that we're just going to use my volcano here as it's just me. But what you need to do is you need to think about your own values. Your own ideas should be reflected in your volcano painting. So just go with how you feel. And we're just going to try to make this like a happy little volcano here. We're going to mix and blend these colors. You notice the way that white just kind of comes through. I always like that liquid white on there first, because then the paint just sort of flows really smooth. And it's just a happy little volcano. You just want to keep painting and just keep adding and just do nice big broad strokes up and down, smooth. Then we're going to just kind of use the corner of the brush a little bit. And we're just going to dab a little bit of happy little green paint on there, just on the corner of that brush, and we'll just put a little bit of yellow on the other side, a little bit of that crimson yellow right there. And I'm going to just work that brush from side to side like this. You see that? It just goes so easy. It's just so satisfying. Remember that assignment. You need to tell me where that volcano is. Locate it on a map. Draw a pretty little picture of a map for me. Little picture of where your volcano is. You know, later on we'll just add a few more details, a little bit of lava coming down, perhaps. You've got your beautiful lava rocks. You get your big lava rocks, and you get your smaller lava rocks, and the pumice rocks. Remember, that's lava, right? Because it's molten, it's flowing, it's liquid. When it's inside the earth, what do we call it? We call it, that's right, we call it magma, don't we? And that magma just gently pours out the top right here, right up here. We've got this nice, happy little crater right at the top here. And that's where the lava just comes out. It just kind of spews out, and then it just kind of flows down the side here. Now, with a little bit of practice, you too can experience the joy of volcano painting. Now, we have been receiving lots of assignments lately, and I want to just share a few of these projects with you. Check this out. Plate Tectonics by Casey J. Very nice job. This is from Christy. It is Folding Mountain. Then we have Lara with her brother Liam working on a cone volcano. And here it is, finished. This is Sammy. She's working on her volcanoes, and she's doing it right on the kitchen counter. Now, last night was very exciting. We actually went on location and we got to witness Sammy's volcano in action. Check this out.
Oh, yeah, look at that lava.
Something came out of there.
Oh.
What was in there?
I don't know.
Wow,
Watch out
that's
for
the
the
lava.
lava.
That's the lava, girls.
It's
Pads.
going off my
Lava
tree.
coming out of the volcano.
It's going onto the ground.
Here, do you want to dump a little bit more?
Hey, that's what happens, eh?
No, the dinosaur is going to die.
Likely to erupt in North America. You know, like Mount St. Helens happened back in
I remember that.
1980, was it 80? 70?
It was
81?
I remember hearing about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I would like to personally congratulate Sammy. She did an excellent job. Not only did she build a volcano, she made 2 volcanoes because she couldn't really decide which type she wanted to make. She started with a cone one and then she had to make a shield volcano as well. And she made them both erupt and she did all the supporting work. She's done something that I intended to last for maybe 3 weeks or 4 weeks. That is awesome. I am awarding her a very special prize for that. Thanks, Sammy. Awesome job. We all know that it's not just volcanoes that occur on these tectonic plate boundaries, but it's also earthquakes. So, Austin built his own earthquake table. Check this out.
So far, nobody's social distancing. Here in Lego Mountain, they get a lot of earthquakes. And deadly ones, too. This is my earthquake machine. So, I put this little bar, and it's made out of Lego. And then this goes like that. I put like this little thing right here that attaches to this blue piece right here. And now I put the top on like this with these white things. And you go, when you turn the handle, it goes like that and causes these to move up and down and make the earthquake.
So guys, this is what makes this whole thing so great. I love it when you send stuff in. Send videos, send pictures, keep it coming. It's really cool. You're learning at home. So in the getting started, you've got 4 questions to answer about 3 different rocks that you just find. What color is the same? Is it the same overall? What does the surface feel like? Does it have a smell? Those are easy, guys. These are just random rock samples that I did find right around here. When you get to the second page, you got activity number 1 called Rock Hard. When we're trying to identify minerals, it's not always that easy to just go by color, so they use a thing called a hardness test. Hardness is one of the properties of identifying a mineral. It's in the textbook. There it is, page 288. All about the hardness scale. We're talking Mohs. He was a German fella. 1812 he came up with this. You're going to be doing a lab for this. And you need, right there in the materials, 3 different rock samples that you can find around your home. A piece of old glass, a steel knife, copper penny, fingernail, and a steel file, if you can get one of those. Look at the hardness scale in the textbook. The numbers are there, so 2.5 or less if you can scratch the rock with your fingernail. We're going to use a fingernail, and we're going to try and see if we can make a scratch mark in this rock just by drawing it across. Just like that, a couple of times, and there is no mark there. So then we go to the next one. Next, we go to the edge of a penny. We're going to just try that, and we're trying to cut it. Just trying to see if we can make a slice through that a couple of times there, and we're not making any real visible cut in that at all. Now you might see a little bit of a mark, and that's actually copper that I see on there now, so that's not actually cutting into the stone. Now this next one, you really have to be careful of what you're doing here, but it asks you to then go to the blade of a knife to see if you can scratch it. So we'll just try that. And does that actually make an indentation? All right, you can see the actual dust from the rock itself. We were able to make a visible gouge into it with the knife. So that would put it at between a 5.5 and a 6.5 knife blade. So there we go. That's the hardness for this particular rock. You've got to be careful that you're not just rubbing dirt off either. Like, you really actually have to make a score into the mineral. That wouldn't have worked. We would have progressed to the steel file blade and go from there. So then you've got your table 1 to fill out. So you can see that the third column has to do with that hardness number. You just put the number in there. The middle column, the luster, is what I want to just show you right now, is what the surface of the rock does to the light. You can see it's kind of reflecting here. Some people would say this is kind of shiny, right? And this piece here, it's pretty dull. It's not really shiny at all. Again, if you look in your textbook, they even give you some words there to describe luster: pearly, glassy, waxy, silky, greasy, brilliant. And the last one is just the color, so you can just observe that. Although sometimes it'll have a kind of a coating on it, you might have to scratch a little bit or scrape it on a plate or even a piece of paper or a piece of wood and check that color out. You can only do the extending your learning if you happen to have a numbered rock set, so don't worry about that one. But the check your understanding textbook questions, you do have to do those. All right then, so that assignment for lesson 5 this Friday, which will be already May the 1st. Now it's time to just check that viewer mail. Okay, we've got Mr. Smith. Can you please tell me what the due date will be for the volcano? Well, I didn't actually set a hard, fast deadline for the volcano. I kind of said it would be an ongoing project, something that you're going to work on a little bit here and there along with your other major lesson assignments. So I would suggest, though, I should have them by the end of May in order to, you know, let them decontaminate, properly evaluate them, and then, you know, get them back to you. But, yeah. Okay, the last question that we have today is, does the volcano have to explode? Guys, really, you know, it doesn't have to explode. It might just be a little bit of foaming stuff like lava coming out, but it would be fun if it explodes. Maybe you're asking, is it dormant? Like, it could be a dormant volcano. Well, what fun is that? Anyway, yeah, it could be a dormant volcano. If you don't want to make a big mess and get stuff all over your mom's counter or your table. The first person to get all 3 parts, we're talking the getting started questions, we're talking the activity number 1 with that chart filled in that lab, and the questions to check your understanding. First person that gets that assignment to me gets this. A water bottle Contigo with the new network logo. You know you want it, right? Well, that wraps it up for another edition of Social Isolation Class coming from my basement. We'll see you next time.